Welcome back, everyone. The iPhone 13 has been out for a couple of months now, so let's go and do a full speed test of the iPhone 13 versus the iPhone XS. Now, I haven't done this at all. Now, I've only compared them that one time, so now we can do a full speed comparison. Now, I'm assuming the iPhone 13 is going to be the faster one, but how much faster is it going to be? Now, surprisingly, they have the same amount of RAM on both, so 4 gigabytes of RAM on both of these devices. The iPhone 13 has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it, with 4 gigs of RAM. The iPhone XS has that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigs of RAM as well. The iPhone XS is on the right, the iPhone 13 is on the left. So now we have that out of the way, let's go and get into it. Let's go and get into phone calls. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 13 definitely was the faster one there. Hopping out of here, let's get into music. 3, 2, 1. And you can see definitely the iPhone 13 was the faster one there. If we go and get into the same panel here, which is I think listen now or whatever, scrolling through, we're pretty much going to get the same thing on both. So hopping out, and actually I want to go ahead and scroll between these two right now, and you can see that even they're more similar than not. I couldn't really tell that big of a difference. Hopping out of that application, let's get into something like their app stores. 3, 2, 1. And definitely the iPhone 13 was faster. iPhone XS a little bit behind. Scrolling through here once more, pretty much the same thing here, so not that big of a difference. Getting into this little option, pretty much the same thing too, so not a big difference here. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into photos. 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing. I'll pop up on both. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into their cameras. 3, 2, 1. And pretty much the same thing too. Now they both don't have, so this one doesn't have night mode. Let's just go and take a photo. So yeah, the iPhone XS doesn't have night mode, but let's go and click into this. And even clicking there was a little bit faster on the iPhone 13. Scrolling in and out, pretty much the same thing too. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into news. 3, 2, 1. And definitely the iPhone 13 again is the faster one here. Scrolling through here, pretty much the same thing. Let's go and get into their mail app. 3, 2, 1. Again, iPhone 13 is faster. iPhone XS is a little bit behind. Let's go and get into settings. 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing here too. Not that big of a difference. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into clocks. 3, 2, 1. And pretty much the same thing here too. So not a big difference there either. Let's go and get into something like calculator, which I don't even have here. So now that we have most of those applications out of the way, let's go and get into some of these third-party applications that I downloaded on both. So let's get into it. Let's go and get into Twitter. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 13 was faster. iPhone XS is a little bit behind. Let's go and get into Fruit Ninja. 3, 2, 1. And I want to say the 13 maybe a little bit faster there. Well, actually, the 10s got into that panel faster, so they were both kind of neck and neck, to be honest. Hopping out of that one, both are kind of glitching up, to be honest. That was very, very weird. Stack. 3, 2, 1. And you can see, actually, I don't know which one was faster. They both were pretty close there too. So let me go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get into some of this gameplay. And the reason I load the game is because we will get into the RAM management portion. There's usually a little bit of a difference there too. So hopping out of this one, let's go and get into Thank You. 3, 2, 1. And definitely the iPhone 13 was faster. iPhone XS is a little bit behind. Gameplay wise, I don't really think there's going to be that big of a difference here either. Hopping out of this one, let's get into Snake vs. Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And the 13 again was a faster one. 10s a little bit behind. Not a big deal, but it is something to keep in mind. Now, gameplay, I am noticing that the 13 was a little bit smoother in the beginning with, but they kind of even out at the end. Netflix. 3, 2, 1. And the 13 was faster. 10s a little bit behind there. Quizlet. 3, 2, 1. 13 again was a faster one. Hopping out of this one. Dropbox. 3, 2, 1. 13 again is a faster one there. Bofa. 3, 2, 1. And the 13 again is the faster one. 10s a little bit behind, not a big deal. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And now the 10s is stuck on this downloading content thing for like 1 second or 2 seconds. So we will give it a little bit of a leeway. But even then, I still would have assumed that the 13 would be the faster and smoother one at the end of it. So that is another slight thing to keep in mind. So hopping out of this one, let's go and get into something like Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. Now this is a bigger intensive game. I hope we don't have to download it here, and it looks like we might not have to. Okay, so we did have to download it here, so we'll go ahead and load it up. So we'll go ahead and just load it up in RAM management and see what happens there. Now that pretty much covers up a majority of the applications that I wanted to test. There's really not a whole lot of other ones. We can do Facebook 321. 13 was a little bit faster there. Now that we have most of those applications out of, actually we do have Asphalt, so we can try that 321. Hopefully it does. Okay, so we did have to so we did have to re-download it there. So we're just going to close out of it there. Now let's go back in the beginning and start loading up some of these applications in the RAM management side of things. So let's go back to phone calls 321. So both of them were able to keep the app open in the background, which is expected. That's not really that crazy intensive of an app. And even though we pretty much had a lot of apps in the background, you can see both of them were able to keep that up. Music 321. Pretty much the same thing too. So let's go and hop into the next one, which I guess is photos for these ones 321. Okay, so both of them are able to keep that one in the background as well. So let's go back in the beginning and let's just keep going until one of these applications restart. So we'll skip the camera because it's not a big deal. News 321. Surprisingly, this is pretty crazy. The iPhone 13 restarted that device, that application, first, more so than the iPhone XS. Now, I did close out of some of those applications in the background. I did close out of Asphalt, so all these phones have the same amount of so both these phones have the same amount of applications in the background right now, which is crazy. So let's go and get into Mail 321. Okay, so both were able to keep that in the background. I'm not sure why the XS was able to keep that in the background with the iPhone 13, how to restart that. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Settings. Okay, both are able to keep that one in the background. Let's go and get into Clock 321. So both are able to keep that in the background as well. So again, I think we haven't even gotten to the games yet. If we go into Fruit Ninja, something's going to happen. Both these applications may restart 321. Okay, so both of them restarted here. And I don't know why that game actually, so I don't know why that application restarted on the iPhone 13. That makes absolutely no sense to me. And even when they restarted, they both kind of got into the same exact thing at the same exact time. So again, pretty crazy stuff. I have no idea why that actually ended up happening. So now if we go and get into something like Stack, we can just kind of see what happens here. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, so both are able to keep this app in the background as well, but you can see the XS was stuttering a little bit more, I think, than the 13. So let's go back into here and let's just keep it going. So I accidentally tapped into here. So let's get into Thank You. So let's try it. 3, 2, 1. So both restarted. I think the iPhone 13 is going to go through it a little bit faster, and it did. And the iPhone XS eventually got into it in the background. So we're going to go and try one more because this is pretty insane. I don't know why the XS has, been maintaining more apps in the background than the 13. So let's go and try Snake vs. Blocks. 3, 2, 1. So they both restarted here. So I honestly don't know what to make of this one, mostly because the iPhone 13 and the XS, the 13 is supposed to be faster. And you can even see here, this application got through faster on the XS than the iPhone 13. So this pretty much makes absolutely no sense to me. So if I had to sum it up, I would pretty much tell you that the iPhone 13 is supposed to be the faster, better one in pretty much every single area. I was not expecting the iPhone XS to be faster in any single spot, but if I had to say it, the 13 is more stable, more faster, and this is probably the device I would recommend you to pick up. But it's very interesting why the iPhone XS is as fast and is as stable as it was. And this makes absolutely no sense to me, and if I had to kind of sum it up, I would pretty much say that the 13 is the faster, more stable one. But there's no reason the XS was as stable or as fast as it was. Now, a little bit more glitching on this device, but when it came down to RAM management, the XS was able to keep more apps in the background than the iPhone 13. So that in and of itself makes absolutely no sense to me. And I will probably tell you, if you have a XS, I would probably recommend keeping it. But that was a pretty crazy, interesting speed test. They're both on iOS 15.2 right now as well. And that's the most stable version of iOS right now. So that pretty much makes no sense to me, but I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on this. If you have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.